Well, hello, it's Karen McDermott-Rolfe, Independent Advisor with Creative Memories, and today I am back with my monthly technique, layout, and challenge. I'm going to share a scrapbooking technique with you and then challenge all of you to use the technique and share it with me on Facebook in my private group, Karen's Croppers, for an entry into my October door prize drawing. Once you're in Karen's Croppers, look at the top menu bar and click on Albums, and then look for the album titled Technique Tuesday number 63, and that will be the album where you'll add your photo. While you're there, you might want to look at those 62 other albums, as they all contain a scrapbooking technique. So it's a great reference library for you. And I have videos for most of those albums and techniques here on my YouTube channel at Karen Crops. So make sure to subscribe to my channel and also click on the little bell icon to receive a notification every time I add a new video. You can see more of my layouts and information about my events on my blog at karencrops.com. And I so appreciate any of your purchases through my Creative Memories website link at creativememories.com/user/Karen, and it's Karen with a Y. And I have a new fourth quarter customer rewards gift to share with you. So for my technique and layout today, I'd like to dedicate this to everyone who joined me for my virtual Croptober Fest event. So this past weekend, we met on Zoom over the weekend to create my exclusive layouts together. And now we have a private Facebook group for my virtual Croptober Fest, where everyone is sharing photos of their versions of my layouts, and we're having a lot of fun together, seeing all the different versions of these layouts and interacting with each other. So if you'd still like to join in the fun, there's plenty of time to do that. To find the registration link, you can find it here on my blog at karencrops.com. Go to events, or in Karen's Croppers, also look for events. You'll have to look for the past events, and then look for that registration link for my virtual Croptober Fest. You're going to get instructional handouts, printable instructional handouts, and video recordings, instructional video recordings to create my own exclusive layouts that I created using the Croptoberfest Customer Bundle. Now that Customer Bundle is sold out with Creative Memories, but the Croptoberfest kit is still available along with the cardstock. And, you know, lots of, some of the gals here that are doing the event with me are substituting beautifully with other papers. They're using other fall collections, and there's even one cropper who's been using Christmas papers in creating my exclusive layouts using Christmas paper, and it's turning out beautifully. These layouts are exclusive, so they're just for your personal use only, and I'm not sharing them anywhere since they're exclusive, and people have paid a fee to have access to them. But they are 4 double-page layouts. They're very intricate, they're very layered, there's a lot of detail on them, and they're super cute. And you guys, I've been getting a lot of great feedback from everyone who's participated with me. So yeah, I encourage you to still to do that. And that will also be, I'll keep this event available as an on-demand page class in Karen's Croppers. So when you go to karencrops.com, excuse me, if you go to my blog, karencrops.com, and click on the tab for on-demand page classes, you can see that I have several available for my past Croptoberfest events and my past National Scrapbook Day events. So you can still get all the instructional materials for all of those exclusive layouts too. So what I did today is I used my leftovers from my Croptoberfest layouts to create this layout. So as everyone who's done that event knows, we don't have very many pieces left. We only have one full sheet, so you should have this full sheet left. And then we have some partial strips and pieces of some of the other designer papers and cardstocks. So I challenged myself to use those leftover pieces to come up with one more layout. And then this is a layout that can be adaptable to any materials and any punches that you have. So we're going to create a striped diagonal border and then incorporate some border punches. So you're going to be able to incorporate other border punches. I've used the Rustic truck border punch and the Garland banner border punch, but you'll be able to substitute, like I said, other punches, along with border maker cartridges too, to do this technique. And then to create your border, you just need some paper strips. So it's going to be a very adaptable layout, and we're going to see lots of great versions of this when everyone starts making it and sharing it there in Karen's Croppers. So to start, since there's a little bit of detail and fine work, I got a head start on you, and I cut a strip of cardstock to 12 inches by 3. Okay, so this is 3 inches wide. And then I took some of my leftover paper. So this is a great way to use up leftover paper from any collection. And I cut a variety of strips. I cut some here that are 3/4 of an inch. So this print and also the teal print are 3/4 of an inch wide by 3. And then also some that are 1/2 an inch wide. So I just cut some 1/2 inch wide strips and then cut them into segments of 3 inches. Okay. So now to adhere these onto the cardstock panel, I took my repositional tape and I just ran it over the top and bottom edges real good, because I do want the tops and bottoms of my pieces to stay adhered, and on the sides. And then I put some additional strips in the middle. It's not completely covered with tape, but there's a good covering. And then that makes it super easy here to adhere the strips. So let me just go ahead and finish doing that with my remaining strips. I started a pattern that you can see here. So I'm just going to continue following my pattern, getting my strips just butted up next to each other, trying to have no space showing, and trying to keep my strips straight. For those of you guys who did the Croptoberfest layouts, you should only have 2 thin, or maybe 1 or 2 thin strips of this plaid left. And that's what I used there. I wanted to incorporate that. And now I adhered my last strip. So I'm going to take my trimmer now, and I'm just going to trim this up because I envision that there's some overhang. This edge looks really good. There's some overhang right here. So I'm going to just try to line up the overhang there on the dash cutting line, cut off those overhanging strips. I do have to press kind of hard because I might be going through a little bit of the cardstock too. And then this one on the end. And I think that's good. So while I have the trimmer out and I have my border piece finished, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it in half on the diagonal. So I'm going to turn it this way. So I have my corner here up on the dash cutting line, and then the opposite corner here also on the bottom on the dash cutting line. Let me see if that's all in frame. Yep, you can see both. Good. So that corner's on the dash cutting line, and this corner is also on the dash cutting line. And I am going to cut. Now you saw I started cutting kind of in the middle and then worked my way up and then worked my way down. That way I'm not catching the very corners and tearing it. And I pressed extra hard because I am going through 2 layers of paper, and I went over it a couple times to make sure I cut it. And now we're going to have these wedge pieces. Well, that's kind of funny. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and just adhere these down. Now you probably heard me say to myself, that's kind of funny, because I was working ahead on some of the additional pieces and I adhered my truck pieces on the wrong side, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. But let me just go ahead and adhere these strips to the top and bottom. So right there you can see how this is a great technique, using up strips of any kinds with any collections, and can make a simple layout. And then you can, to turn this into a double page spread, you could just make a matching one and do it for the opposite page also. Or you could put one strip on on one side and the other strip on the other. Okay. So now what I wanted to do was to create some borders to finish it off. And so for my National Scrapbook layouts, we heavily featured here this the Garland banner border. And I'm looking at that, how it's going to work. See, when it's in the 12-inch length, we have these little post pieces that are just in half. But when we put it diagonal, we need a little extra space, and they look like they're kind of hanging there. So that's kind of weird looking to me, that they look kind of unfinished. So I'm just gonna, I think I'm gonna snip them off, and I might like it better without that partial circle. If it doesn't bother you, I would just keep it on. There we go. I think I like that a little better. And I've done some layering now. So with this Garland banner border punch, it's one of my current favorites. I punched a few different borders. I punched one border out of bright white cardstock, and then one border out of the dark sea green cardstock. And again, these were leftover pieces from our for my my Croptoberfest layouts. And then I punched a banner from this orange starburst paper. And then I took that banner and I cut it apart with my scissors into smaller little banner pieces. And I made them a little shorter and a little not as wide, narrower, so that they could fit on top here of the cardstock banner. And I just ran a little bit of repositional tape on the cardstock banner, and then I'm placing these pieces. I thought that was a lot quicker than putting the adhesive on each little banner piece. Okay, so I have a border there, and now I wanted a border at the bottom. And when I laughed at myself, it was because of the trucks. Because when I had envisioned this layout, I kind of thought the trucks would be going downhill. But I guess in reality, it doesn't really matter if they're going uphill or downhill, right? So I got a head start on this border also by using the Rustic truck border punch. And I punched a complete border of trucks out of the hot fudge cardstock. And then I punched a border out of the deep sea green cardstock. And I took my microtip scissors, and from the dark sea green trucks, I snipped off the tires and I snipped off the slatted wooden sides. Okay, so let me just kind of peel this back so you can see what I mean. Let me get my multi-purpose tool to help me. So this is what I did with the dark sea green trucks. I just trimmed them apart, and then I put some adhesive down here on the hot fudge trucks, and then overlaid it to get a little bit of a shadow at the top of the cab. That's going to help it pop off the page a little better. And then we have the brown wood sides, and now we have brown for the tires. Now I did punch one more border out of the white because I really liked adding this little bit of white cardstock to it to brighten it up. So we can look at the trucks like this without the white. And then if we put the little bit of white behind it, I really liked how that little bit of white just brightened it all up. Do you see that? So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere the border, the assembled layered border on top of the white. And I'm using our bright white cardstock. This is the new color for Creative Memories. I really like having this bright white now. But you could use just regular white too. So I'm just going to offset that a little bit. So I have a little bit of a white shadow. Again, more depth, more dimension. It's going to make the trucks a little thicker, a little heftier. I'm just kind of rubbing away some of the excess repositional adhesive here. And then we have our trucks. So I think I'm going to adhere these with foam squares. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of the small foam squares and I'm going to put them over the tire openings, okay? Because we're going to fill the tires in with another color, and we're going to be able to use the sticky adhesive of the foam squares to hold those hubcaps in place. Just gonna add a couple more foam squares here. And now let's adhere our truck border. I'm just going to overlap it with the diagonal stripes border a little bit. There we go. And now where I have the sticky part of the foam squares coming through where the hubcap should be, I had saved the debris. When I punched my trucks from the white cardstock, I saved the debris pieces and I saved the little white hubcaps. So now I'm placing them right there in the tires. And the foam squares holding it in place. You could use a different color if you'd like to punch a whole nother border with the trucks and get a different color for your hubcaps. I'm looking up here where I cut off those partial circles, and it is kind of bothering me that there's not an end point on those. So I'm taking the hole punch, and I use the hole punch to punch out some white centers for the little post there. So again, I'm going to take some more of my scraps here of the bright white cardstock, and let me just punch 2 more holes and see what that would do if we added some. Well, they're kind of funny now because they don't have the dark sea green, right? So I'm going to take my dark sea green and let me punch some banner pieces that I can cut apart to get the parts that I wanted. Okay, so I just kind of need this many. And I'm going to cut apart these little round posts. Let's see, how will that be? And then I'm going to stick them on the ends there to create my own end pieces. Okay. So I think I'll do this. I'm going to tinker with it a little bit. They didn't come out totally circular because I punched them in a hurry. I didn't have it quite matched up, but well, it looks pretty good. Maybe it looks good enough, huh? So I'm just going to put a little repositional adhesive there on the dark sea green circle pieces. I'm going to put the white holes on those, and I think what I'll do is I'm going to adhere these with foam squares also, so my banners have some dimension, and looks like they're flying in the wind, right? We did this type of layering with all of my Croptoberfest layouts. So that's when I said that they were kind of detailed and intricate, that we did a lot of layering with the trucks. We did a lot of layering with the banners. We made some other cute elements to layer in there also on those layouts. So I'm just removing the backing. And I'm going to pull this down so I could see it better. Maybe I'm going to put it upside down. I need to, so it's right in front of me and I could line it up better. There we go. And now I'm going to put some foam squares on these little pieces that I cut. I think I need to, there we go. There, that looks much better now to me. It looks more finished, right, with these pieces. Now for my photo mats, I've gone ahead and I've pre-cut some already. So my photo mats are 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, so I can fit 3 on here like this. And again, that top border we started with was 12 by 3, and these mats are 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then I just adhere them like that to finish the layout. Now we didn't have very many of the stickers or embellishment pieces left after creating all of the layouts. So really, I kind of really just had this one. So I was thinking I could add it like that. There. And so we have the layout. So this is the technique, and I'm going to challenge all of you guys to do that, to make a layout using these diagonal border pieces out of strips, and then go ahead and layering some border pieces that you can punch with either a border punch or with border maker cartridges, or intermingle them and see what you come up with. And then again, share it with me and Karen's Croppers for an entry into my October door prize drawing. Also, I welcome you to register for my virtual Croptoberfest to get access to more Croptoberfest layouts. And I'd also like to invite you to join me for my next virtual event, which is our Creative Life Scrapbooking PJ Party. So the PJ Party is a virtual crop that the designers on Creative Life Scrapbooking host, and that's going to be on the first Friday of November. It's going to be November 1st, and we'll be live on Zoom to create 4 layouts together, and then you'll also receive pre-recorded video instructions for 3 more layouts. So you'll get access to 7 double-page layouts. They each feature a technique or a unique feature, and again, you're going to have printable handouts and recorded video instruction for all of those. And you can register for that event at creativelifescrapbooking.com. Thanks so much, everybody. I cannot wait to see your version of this layout.